Welcome back to the NAL after a rather uneventful Game 1. We do hope that this one is going to be a little bit more up to snuff. We got Standby LFO going up against C9. Both these teams currently sitting towards the bottom. LFO specifically on 0 points so far. But you know what? This is the game where they could maybe, potentially, possibly make a difference.
Yeah, I mean, we talk about LFO and every single game we're like, oh, this is finally the one for them to get points under their belt. I mean, eventually they'll have to play against Cruelty, so that's their closest matchup. But that being said, Cloud9 is the next closest matchup for LFO to try to bounce back. Relatively, they've kept all of their games close, besides their last one. As for Cloud9, they've looked like they've, had their own struggles since getting Hat on the board, but they got their win under the belt. So maybe that will be able to impact their confidence in the upwards trajectory going into this matchup against LFO.
Yeah, you'd absolutely hope so. And as you already touched upon, C9, this is a roster, Lax, that has made a change coming into Stage 2. And we were like, okay, C9 had maybe not the Stage 1 that they were hoping for, but yet they still performed well. And we thought that they could improve on that onto this stage.
Yeah, and you said during rehearsals that no one else heard, but you said things were heating up, and I actually love that you said that. I kind of was hoping you were going to say it again so I could get that toss, but no, I think the fire has definitely been lit underneath this team. I mean, getting a 7-0 versus Cruelty, sure, you can, in some sort of fashion disregard that it was Cruelty. It wasn't the most competitive team, to say the least, but to still 7-0 a team, you still have to be executing flawlessly, winning your gunfights, sticking to the executions, the pre-plan, everything going as planned. And that's the fact that they did do that. So the fact that they are actually accumulating a decent amount of points, not just from an overtime loss, but getting a good solid 3 points, does only light that fire underneath all of them. That gives them that, motivation of when we're all on the same page, when we're all working together, we can achieve greatness. So that should be enough going into this game to get that overhead of Standby, but there's still some questions.
Yeah, especially considering what we've seen from the first 2 weeks. I mean, last week specifically, as you touched upon, it's getting there. It's baby steps, but also something to really keep into consideration when it comes to the NAL. You don't have enough time to make baby steps. You got to go leaps and bounds quickly as possible. And when we're looking at how they perform specifically against Cruelty, I mean, that was great.
Yeah, I mean, again, it goes into question of with that Cruelty game of what that really does look like. And then when we want to talk about players and specific in those matchups, we have to talk about Hat. We have to address the elephant in the room because it goes back to what we were talking about with this roster change originally, swapping out Packer, their IGL, and bringing Hat more of a flex player on what that was going to look like. And unfortunately, Hat has not been performing well, to say the least. He's had one decent game, but he is currently the 45th lowest rated player in the league. That's only 5 spots off of being the lowest rated in the league. So for me, it's just a matter of Cloud9 getting that win underneath their belt, should be able to do something, but then also for Hat to be able to come into this performance and really ramp it up. Because yes, it's a 5-man roster. Yes, people can pick up a slack of a player if they aren't performing well, but when it's game after game after game, we have to start seeing it come alive now. And like you were saying, leaps and bounds, they have to be made here, and especially for a player like Hat coming into this situation, he needs to have a pop-out performance today against LFO if they want to make their mark here.
Yeah, and especially considering that this is a roster change. This is a decision that they've actively made of okay, Stage 1 didn't go the way we wanted. We want to bring in a new player. Now the questions need to be answered as to what did they see that we maybe didn't. And they're going to be going up against Standby LFO, and this is a roster that hasn't made any changes, Foxay. But also with that, we haven't necessarily seen too much of improvement because they're still at 0 points on the bottom of the leaderboard.
Yeah, and it's been very impactful or very eye-opening for Standby and LFO. I mean, we talked about it all throughout Stage 1. Having a lack of veteran leadership has been, a big downside for them. And obviously, you can see it time and time again. Yes, they have kept their starter games close, but we always talk about it that eventually they're going to get to a point where they get exposed. I wasn't a believer in the Standby method and the way that they wanted to go about games. And against Shopify, that was exactly what we saw. Again, same issues, lack of awareness and understanding where they can get picked from, where they can die from, and what is the win condition. And that was so transparent against a team like Shopify Rebellion that can take advantage of that. They can understand, oh, this person's out of position. We can execute on them. And Standby, they're just not in the positions to make a play happen or play safely enough to avoid that, and they just hemorrhage the first kill, they hemorrhage the rest of the round, and that's their biggest issue. If they could just stay alive or spend a little bit more time preserving their characters, they would be able to at least go into the later half of the round and have a better chance, see how it works out, because they do have good individual players.
Yeah, but I feel like as well when we're looking at Standby LFO specifically, it starts from the entry. Like the issues start from literally the first second of the game.
Yeah, I mean, that's what we were talking about. These are all of their entry statistics for the last 4 games that they've played. And the first 3, they kept them relatively close. And you can see, I mean, yeah, they have some issues. They're still going neck and neck, but they're losing it in the later half of the game just because they just don't have enough bodies. But in their game against SR, that's where their lack of awareness really was strucken. I don't know if that's really a word, but I don't know if Standby is really a team in that matchup game against Shopify Rebellion. They looked very bad just by losing that opening engagement. Yes, it was on a map like Lair. So what does that paint the picture? That they have that lack of awareness, but it's the fact that on a new map like Lair. So that's 2 issues that not having a leader really to be on the team can't auto-correct. They can't make sure that we're not losing opening kills, and we're not learning the new maps as best as we can to understand who's playing where and why they're in that position in the first place.
I love that you're bringing up map specifically because Map Veto is also going to be coming through. And Lax, here, when we're looking at both of these rosters, Cloud9 has had a little bit more success than Standby LFO this stage, but what are we expecting when it comes to a map that maybe would be an equal footing?
I would say for both these teams, you don't want to play the bigger maps because even when we saw in Bank with Standby, it didn't really look too great to say the least. So, I mean, for big maps, I'd rather get the big maps out of the way. So removing a map like Lair makes perfect sense. Labs even, I mean, given Cloud9 did bring it close to DZ, oh, we're going to get Bank. Okay, so this is a little interesting for me because Standby didn't look too promising on it. Sure, it was a close game against Envy, but again, it's those small little errors that Fox is talking about that Bank really will... It'll be very apparent, and it'll show in a map like this that you're not clearing properly, you're not following through properly, the execute doesn't go as planned based off losing a pick somewhere else, especially on those clears. Granted, they are going to start on defense, so they can feel a little more comfortable, but at the side for Cloud9, again, I need to see Hat perform here. Yeah. And then on the also backing of Dream being that IGL, it's the exact same thing, kind of the same problems I'm talking about with Standby is that we need to see from Cloud9 is being able to go through all your checklists, clearing everything, getting down to that execute, and then making that mid to late round actually worthwhile than losing picks and not being able to execute where you need to.
So predictions then, something to touch upon here as well. Fox, I'll start with you. I'm assuming C9? No, wait,
honestly,
whoa, what?
I saw Lax pick C9. Honestly, I feel like if we go head-to-head on individual players, I think Standby could give a run for their money against Cloud9.
Okay.
The map being banked doesn't make me feel too confident because we've seen it from Standby where they don't fix the issues that they have. I mean, they'll run maps back-to-back and they don't have that leadership in the VOD review room to be able to fix those mistakes and try to make it better. I'm still going to go with Standby. For some reason, I feel like they're coming in today with a different head on their shoulders. And I feel like when you pair up both teams individually, player to player, I want to say Standby will win.
All right. I respect that.
I don't think Hats win.
You went for Cruelty last game. You're going for Standby.
I really like it. Yeah. Just a heads up. We can zoom in on that. It was really SSG the entire time.
You made sure that was happening, huh? You're behind the power outage. Yeah, we'll see. How much they pay you?
Not enough.
All right. Either way, we're ready to head into our second game of today of C9 going up against Standby LFO with our casters Ollie and Jesse, who could maybe throw in a little prediction themselves too.
Jenny, thank you very much. My prediction, I think it could be a close game, Jesse. I really do. I think if you look at where these two teams generally sit inside of the leaderboard, you know, we're not expecting absolutely nothing out of them. It's not like Cruelty are playing again. We're expecting Standby to get a couple of points this stage, and I think they've just got to find their footing. I think this is going to be their perfect opportunity to get that done over C9. But whether it's going to be a full 3 points or not, I think time will tell.
I have to agree with you. The last time these two teams met was, of course, back in Stage 1, and for both teams, it was the most competitive match that they played all stage long, of course, ending 8-6 for Standby back on Lair. So we'll have to see if that scoreline does continue. I've got a feeling that it will. Get right into the operator bans. The big question for Bank is always, do you ban the double-ranged hard breach? Do you take out Ace and Hibana to eliminate a lot of those long-range hard breach potentials? Looks like this time Standby will say no, instead focusing on the shields, Blackbeard to be gone first. Good chance we follow this up with a second shield, but it's a Grim instead. So definitely a bit unorthodox in terms of operators to be banned, but both are quite strong on Bank, so I don't hate it at all. The side of Cloud9, very predictable, both Kaida and Nira, the most common two operators banned on Bank.
It's always a bit of a bold choice, isn't it, to get rid of the sort of double range hard breach. I think in this day and age, with the amount of tin openers that's left, it doesn't really make that much of a difference if the Hibana's let through. The only advantage, of course, you've got for the ranged hard breach is opening up that elevator wall, opening up cancel upstairs, and then aside from that, I think everything else, it kind of just falls into place. Having the Hibana there is nice to get those hatches open, but sometimes we see it bite teams because they're like, oh, we don't need the secondary tin openers because we've got the Hibana. So we'll remain to we'll have to see how that plays out in this game if we do get to that point. But Cloud9 going to start off on the attack here tonight. Stand by on that defensive side, and we are wasting no time. Straight downstairs. Now, this has been a big talking point, Jesse, at least inside of Europe and certainly for Lynx and I. In terms of operator selection on this map, we have been getting a lot of Tachanka. We've been getting a lot of things like that. Did you see Tim's thread on Tachanka on X?
I did. I talked about it. It was interesting.
Yeah, well, just get ready for that whenever we get downstairs to lockers because I'm a big Tachanka believer at the moment.
I remember the day it came out, we were casting NAL, or maybe it was the day after, and we had like a huge Tachanka kill, like a huge Tachanka successful strat, and then immediately the next round or a couple rounds later, a complete missed Tachanka fire. So it's definitely inconsistent at times, but we're going open area. Bit of an unconventional first site choice by Standby. The push isn't coming out just yet, despite what the Sens wall might suggest. They're still going to work some players over towards lobby, and that'll be the first one to die. Kobilax eaten up by Epic.
Dream is going to be in on the Blitz. The Blitz not really ideal for these fights. He can't sort of walk in and take control. Instead, he's just looking to poke and prod. Gitty will find a kill onto Kixrow. Cloud9 have moved very quickly in this first half of the round, already getting good control here inside of Archives. They haven't gone for anything vertical. So if a retake happens, there's no real way of stopping that from happening. It's not like they've got bodies upstairs. And as such, if Cloud9 want to, they could get a bit of a flank off. There is a drone working through the site now, and Dream should be being told that this is all sort of clear and good to go. The only thing he's going to have to worry about is, of course, these Toxic Babe canisters. First plant pause. Second plant pause. Ooh!
Wow.
I thought he was going to get away with that then, but instead he tried to go out. From the camera angle, it looked as though he had the space to get the plant down, but no, the Toxic Babe canister has done the work. Still plenty of time now to move through for Silent at least and try and reattempt this plant.
Good coming in here now. Silent will get it done, it seems. Into the post plant we go. The flank does get caught by Hat, so good pick up on defense, and now it's just a matter of making sure you can stay alive. Defending this defuse kit. Good long angle fights come out as Silent also finds one, and Giddy with a second.
Great kill there from Eddie. Double on the round. It's all down to him now. He knows exactly where Silent is, but Silent is being covered. He's got nothing really to deal with this. He needs to cross and pick up the kill, and even then he's got a player on square. It's going to be very difficult from this point onwards. Can find one, but he's only ever going to be stat padding at that point. Gitty with the long angle from square stairs seals the deal for Cloud9.
Ed and Eddie with the triple kill to end that round should have been enough, especially after how good his smoke play was, killing Dream, perfectly spacing them out so that there was no place to plant. But after that, came through. A lot of credit got to be given to Silent there to run back in, pick up the defuse kit. He's not usually the guy to put the defuse kit on the floor for standby, but this time around, Silent was able to do that. So huge play by him for Cloud9, I should say. Managed to hold that down, and then Giddy big round as well, coming with 3 kills, just covering on that plan, making sure he's got the angles from down below. Very standard square focus push coming in from C9. You see that from a lot of teams where you just ISO in through square. You make sure you lock down the basement with those air jabs, and from there, a very solid post plant. So I really like what I saw from Cloud9. Standby, good stuff from Eddie, just not enough.
It was a genius rotate from Eddie. It was only watching it back I realized he was walking across the tables because he knew that he was not going to get seen there by Gitty.
Yeah.
So there was a little bit of a disconnect for a second from Cloud9 there. They weren't really playing that as an on-contact sort of engagement. It just so happens that Gitty wins the fight in the end. But if there'd have been maybe a little bit more time and Eddie hits a live shot onto him on those square stairs, it could have been a different outcome. It wasn't entirely guaranteed. for Cloud9, but they have got round 1 under their belts. We are going to move forward, different site, downstairs to the basement we go. Already we have seen all the good work that this Tachanka can do. It's going to be Bino playing it. I'm a big Tachanka believer, and it looks like Standby are, because they haven't even brought a smoke. Instead, they do have 3 C4s. So that's going to be the primary chunk of the sort of plant denial, and then obviously the Tachanka for more area denial focused. It is something that Cloud9 need to be considerate of, because they can't afford to waste a lot of time, and with a little bit of presence inside of open area, some open hatches, this fuse fortunately gives them that ground very quickly.
Interesting to run the fuse when all 3 shields have still been unbanned. I guess the Blackbeard's banned, but you've got 2 other good options there, specifically the Blitz. I thought alongside the smoke and the Tachanka and the Nitro cells, we might see a heavy roam game from Standby, as they started with a bunch of players main floor. Fens was up on the top floor, but ended up falling back pretty quickly there, which I don't mind one bit. I think Fens has been an exceptional roamer so far this stage for Standby, yet to lose an opening engagement on that defensive side, but today, deciding it's better to play it a little bit safer. Having that ward in late round is going to be absolutely critical when these Candelas come through from Hat. But you see with these Valkyrie cameras, still lots of potential for somebody to make a late round play, either in the post plant or a little bit before. Catch someone off guard with that free information. You can know exactly what's going on. Cloud9, they're suspicious, but they don't know where these cams are.
Yeah, you can see that Gitty knows that there's a Valk there. He knows that there's something he needs to be looking for, but he can't quite pinpoint what it is. Already, we're seeing these Shumikas placed out there. The wall has been open. It was left soft, so it was fairly straightforward to get that open. 15 Shumikas is a heck of a lot of time, and Cloud9 need to try and do something to displace that Tachanka. But unfortunately, with them all stacked up in server, it is going to be difficult. You can see Kobilax is going to go for a rotation now, maybe Silent as well. The Candelas, they'll get sent in. You don't need to see to know where to place that Tachanka. You just don't move your mouse. Kobilax will find an opener onto Eddie. That's one of the C4s down. Still 2 available, and Dream's going to attempt this plant. Are the Shumikas in position? It doesn't look like it, and neither has any C4s. How's that gone down for free? We've still got a C4 in Epic's pocket. Eventually, Hat gets taken down on the long angle by Fens, but this is going to need to be a retake. Epic starts with a successful kill. The Valkyrie camera's still alive, giving them that confidence and information to make this work, but they haven't got all the time in the world. They need to deal with Gitty inside of open area. He's tucked right now, and he doesn't need to give the game away. Peeks at the perfect time, takes Epic out. 15 seconds left. Fens, he's on that counter defuse. Is anyone going to stop him? Dream eventually peeks from the bottom of blue, and that should be the round. All wrapped up here for Cloud9.
Nice little post-plant play coming out from C9. I mean, you said it. The plant denial not coming through. 2 Nitro cells and still 9 Tachanka fire grenades to come through, but none of them able to land on that plant as it goes down. Even if they do manage to toss out a Nitro or something, there is time. They planted it about 25, 30 seconds. So there's time to pull off, try again once the Nitro gets blown. So I really like that push from Cloud9. Standard default as it gets, going through server, make sure you have top floor control too, but honestly, 2 back-to-back kind of low map clear pushes from Cloud9 that I think get executed really, really well. Only 1 kill in that round 2 coming through from Giddy, and he did technically die right at the end there, but I think the late round post-plant kills from Giddy have been really impressive through these first 2. Currently sitting at 4-1, top fragging the lobby. I know we're only 2 rounds in, but Giddy's been a guy who has had his struggles with the North America League in the past, but today I really think he's hitting his stride. Good start so far.
I think Standby just need to do a little bit more. They're seeming a little bit passive at the moment for my liking. I don't know if they got baited by the shield just running towards them, anticipating it to be a blitz. But when it's a fuse, you don't really need to just drop off straight away. You can sit there and challenge. You need to be worried about the guy behind him, sure. But it's not like the fuse is going to do any damage to you. You know, it's not like the blitz is going to bear down and is brilliant in a 1v1 in the right hands. I think Standby just needs to stand the ground a little bit more, particularly on that defense. They're not really going to have much of a choice on this top floor because it's top floor. You have to defend it. You've nowhere to run. There's nowhere to hide. There's only a couple of C4s, so we do see C4 kills on this top floor, but it's usually a late round decision to drop down into tellers and make that happen. So I'm expecting to see them hold their ground a little bit firmer here in round 3.
Yeah, well, I mean, this is a nightmare attacking lineup to go up against, too. I'm sure you've seen it. You've got 2 blinding operators, both the Ying and the Blitz. You're going to have 2 global operators, Dokkaebi and Finka coming through, and then Kobe with those track stingers is going to be very annoying to pull anything off. Looks like they're going to jump into stock now, and this push will begin.
Dream pays no mind to the FNAP. That isn't going to concern him. He's got a Finker LMG behind him. He just needs to run down these players. On the stairs, always a difficult engagement, and we never see the shields do well. But fortunately, Cloud9 are able to take advantage. Fenn's left very low. Silent, low as well, but with an adrenal surge coming up, he will be able to stim himself and the rest of his team. As we've not seen half of the round yet, already so much action. Half of the players in the server taken out and another to add to the tally. Gitty, you mentioned Jesse, he's having a great game. I think that's a bit of an understatement.
Really well done on that push. I mean, they came in fast, they came in explosive, and it didn't go exactly to plan. You know, it's not the cleanest play. You lose your shield immediately with Dream on those stairs. Thought he had the blind off initially. It looked like a zombie couldn't see, but still ended up losing the first gunfight, but it didn't seem to matter because everybody was there together. Silent was right behind Dream, able to clean up those frags, playing so nicely with that Finka LMG, just racking up the kills. And then, as you said it, Giddy, 2 more on the books. A fantastic game coming out from Jesse Auger, the secondary support player on Cloud9, playing very well, and it's a full 3-site rotation where Cloud9 will win every single attack, prompting an immediate attack timeout from standby. This has not gone the way I expected, X.
It really hasn't. But again, I think it comes down to, I don't really believe that standby have played the best game that's in front of them. Cloud9 are being very reactive, and they have recognized a couple of things very early, and that is that standby hold very little map presence and aren't really interested in roaming or lurking or contending for control. And so Cloud9 have gone, brilliant, we are going to take everything as quickly as we can, and we're just going to use shields to do it. And the way that the ban phase has already gone, regardless of what got banned inside of the second bans throughout this first phase, you can't remove all the shields. Yeah, you might be able to get rid of the Blitz, but there's still going to be the Monty, there's still going to be the Fuse, and they're tools at the moment that Cloud9 are using. Now, you've got to counter that, and you've got to say, well, what are we going to do to sort of combat this? And I think there has to be a decision made by standby to be a little bit more active, because these rounds are happening quickly whether they like it or not, because Cloud9 are bringing the pace. The least they could do is be ready to meet that pace out there on the roam a little bit more.
It's actually not going to be a shield at all banned out, too. It will be the Ying, which was brought twice in the first 3 rounds, so I think it makes sense. The Ying was very oppressive over those 2 rounds where she was brought, so complete logic coming out from standby. Meanwhile, Cloud9 have chosen to ban out the Clash. Not an operator that was brought even once through the first quarter, so a bit of a disrespect ban, saying, we saw what you played rounds 1 through 3. We didn't think any of it was a problem. Instead, we're going to remove the Clash, which is an operator that from time to time standby have played. I know Eddie has played a little bit of Clash on a couple different bomb sites here. It's not a hugely popular operator for them, but we do have a little bit of history seeing standby play the Clash back in stage 1. So maybe a bit concerning if you're standby to see that ban come through, but it shouldn't maybe change your plans up too much. You're going to be the ones who want to change those plans anyways. You need to start, I think, correctly identified, X, taking that map control, fighting them a little bit more early. Don't let them get set up and go for those plants, because the defuse kit focus, other than round 3, was really strong from Cloud9.
I think Kobe saw the player behind the desk, and I think he was just sort of playing the baiting game like, oh wait, I've not seen you.
Definitely.
Should be a freebie, and it is. Let's make sure he's dead, Kobe likes. Why not?
Don't rat. Oh no.
I mean, if you're gonna rat, do it well. That's all I'll say.
Sure.
That's the Warden gun. Weird that we get the Warden pick now, even though we've had the Ying ban. So kind of a little bit of a misalignment there. Ooh, Epic taken out. Real long-range engagement there, and Gitty again in and amongst the action. 8-on-1 right now. It's the player that's in that spot on the UI. It's exactly the same as what was going on in the SSG game.
Yeah? Was that where Pyrox was?
That's where Pyrox was. No, not Pyrox. Yeah, Pyrox. I'm pretty sure.
Something about that slot then in the server. We'll have to keep an eye on it the rest of the day. Standby still desperate, though. They know they can't go back to site with a 3v5 disadvantage, even with some toxic babes in their pockets. They just don't have the stall for this, but they might be forced to. All of Cloud9 are already in the basement.
Well, what do you do if they're in the basement? You have to bring the fight to them. Silent finds one, immediately traded. Don't forget, you've got that Monty, you've got the human drone, and you've got Gitty, who is almost certainly on a heater. Eddie, I don't think you're going to get 2 people from that hatch. You were lucky to get hacked. The plant's going down, my friend. You need to do something about this. Entirety of B is in the enemy's control right now. And this is going to be a very difficult retake. He's not even going to get past the first hurdle. It's Gitty again. Another 3K.
He is absolutely farming against some players that he has a good familiarity with. Of course, used to play alongside Bino back on that CL for Life team, along with Packer back at the Montreal Major last season. These two teams have quite a bit of overlap in terms of players who have played with each other, and I definitely think that some of that familiarity is being seen. Kobe, that opening pick, took down Fens. I mentioned a couple rounds ago, Fens had not lost a single opening duel on defense as the primary roamer for Standby, but that will be his first, as the rat spot doesn't really pan out for them. I do appreciate that Standby tried to play a different game plan. You know, that was a completely different defensive setup than what they showed the last time they defended the basement. You asked for them to play a little bit more aggressive, maybe fight for a bit more map control. They did that, but they ended up just losing those fights, and so it still didn't end up being too strong of a game.
I mean, is lying under CEO desk fighting for map control, Jesse?
Well, okay.
Is that what fighting for map control has become in 2025?
I guess. I mean,
because back in the day, that would have been running at every window that was getting smashed. That would be pre-firing here, there, and everywhere, jumping out of CEO windows. That'd be fighting for map control, not ratting under a desk.
Listen, jumping out of CEO windows isn't what it used to be, Ollie. Okay, we've got to deal with what we have.
No, that is very true. Well, let's see if Cloud9 are going to continue this flawless streak on the attack. No real complaints from what they're doing so far. I think they're moving at a great pace. They're giving themselves loads of options for later on into the round. There's a good element of teamwork sprinkled through as well, and there's a lot of jobs getting done. You see there? We've got Flores already getting rid of some of those Vulcan packs. Pat now going to be starting opening up that Kanto wall. It's very checklist at the moment from Cloud9. And again, it just feels like they're being given the space to do this.
Yeah, it does feel like Cloud9 are going for a bit of a different push too this time around. It's tough for Standby to adapt when Cloud9 keep giving them different looks, and this is going to be probably a more top floor focused attack coming in from them. I say that as they've got Gideon on the RAM, and that's kind of what it's looking like based on operators, but at the same time, Dream is in the exact same spot electrical, so Square Rush worked once. It's something that they could try again if they're feeling up for it. With these smokes, it's going to be doable. Square pressure is here now, and Dream's in the bomb site.
And that just comes off the back of it being told that there's a lot of information, and Silent knowing that he can pick up 2. This plan gets stopped midway. Eddie immediately traded. Kobe sees to that. The diffuser is still cold though. There's over half the round remaining, and Epic and Kixrow have to try and hold on. And they don't know really what's going on right now. Silent is on a tear. He's barely moved from outside of printer window and already finds himself 3. Pat picking up that final kill. Again, Cloud9. I mean, you don't need to be guessing because you know that they're going to be playing on the site. If Silent gets a good bit of information and feels like he can hop in and pick up 2, why not? There are some huge gaps right now that are getting exploited.
And it's honestly all coming together as a team for Cloud9 too. Like Silent is able to jump in printer window and get those 2 kills, in part because Dream is walking in the square door coming in on the blitz, right? A blitz is in, that's going to be your primary focus. Everybody's looking that direction. Open things up for Silent. Nobody's looking towards printer. He makes that move, gets the 2K entry. And if Cloud9 aren't working as a team, if they're not all pushing at the same moment, those types of plays will not find the same level of success. So there's gaps that are being exploited by Cloud9, absolutely, but I also think you got to credit this team for the timing that they've been able to put in together consistently. This has actually been one of the best attacking teams in the league. A 52% attacking win rate from Cloud9 this stage is well above the average. So this has kind of been a trend we've been used to seeing from them. Now 5-0 on their offensive sides. It's been these early attacks that have really gone their way. Silent and Giddy kind of leading the pack in terms of who's getting the kills, and that has been a standard from these two as well. Giddy, a 113 attacking KDR so far this stage, quite good for a support. And Silent, a 162. I mean, this has been a team that's been thriving on the attack all season long, and we're just seeing that again now against Standby.
You really can't fault the teamwork, can you? It's the speed at which they move. As soon as Silent's ready to hop in, Dream's immediately there. And the rest of the team just collapses onto the site because they know that that's the play. They can continue doing that. They'll take rounds off anyone. It's not easy to play against at all. Let's see how they fare here in round 6. Chance for a flawless half. Silent, unfortunately, does lose his shock drone. He knows that Fenrir is still playing inside of open. Will be able to get the FNAT on the second attempt. And has still got some great information. He's been so self-sufficient right now. The drone eventually will get spotted. But I think it's Dream's time to shine. He needs to hop in through that printer window and see if he can run down that Fenrir.
Yeah, long drop now. Kixro gets out the second he sees that Monty's jumping at him. Shot the drone. Good to not die. This is a very anchor-focused setup from Standby. They've got Nitro Cells, they've got the Chonka, they've got the Echo, they've got so much util to deny a plant. They don't need to be going down and fighting players up early with this operator lineup. Tried both styles of defense for Bank. Neither of them worked, so go back to the basics, go back to what you're most comfortable with. The more time this takes for Cloud9, the more difficult it's going to be to make the push happen. The Yokai blatant on Dream's screen, but he's not looking at the top. Instead, his attention's focused on the server stairs, and a possibility for Eddie just gets missed. He's not able to capitalize on the Yokai burst.
Ooh, I do like the C4 placement on the door, though. It gives Monty a very difficult decision. They push through and risk tanking the C4 or even risk dying. That hatch should be open now. Vulcan Pack at the bottom is really cutting off the retreat at the moment as well. C4 eventually dealt with. Monty can get into a tussle, backed up by Hat. Silent was down, but is recoverable. 50 seconds. There is time here for Standby to try and choke this out.
Aggressive with these fire launchers coming through from Bino too. Now starting to launch them in towards the site. Could have been Hat, I suppose, on the hatch, more likely. This plant, Dream is not holding the diffuser. I believe it's right behind him. Hat's got it instead. So what they're going to do, they're going to breach this open with the shotgun. Then Dream's going to cover, and Hat will try to plant behind him. This could be enough to stop the long-range Chonka fire coming through from Bino.
All depends on where the backstab is for this. There needs to be a player coming down main or in garage. Dream, he's going to start getting that plant down. Is there sufficient utility there? It doesn't matter. Hat domes Bino. The plant's confirmed. And Dream gets out alive as well. Epic has been downed in the fray. Kixro low. Fen's low. Very difficult retake. They should be able to recover Epic right now. They've only just shot the drone, tucked in the drone hole. That'll have been giving a lot of information away. There's a couple of drones in Gold Vault as well. One in lobby for the flank. This is pretty unlosable right now if you are Cloud9. Kixro down now as well. Hat isn't able to find any more kills. He doesn't need to. It's 10 seconds left. Dream gets his shield up for the C4. Gitty to close it out, and Hat with the kill earlier, or the down, should I say, earlier, confirmed as the time hits 0. Another successful attack here for Cloud9. What a streak they've been on Bank so far tonight.
Keep in mind, too, this is the first time Cloud9 have ever played Bank. The last time we saw this org on this map was back when they had 5 Koreans on their team, so it's been a while. Good to see them starting off so strong, 6-0. I mean, I hate to say it, but Team Cruelty with 4 players was more competitive than Standby so far.
Oh, Jesse.
I hate to say it, but at least they had somebody, right? Pyrox was at least popping off for Cruelty on Standby, and nobody has been able to get the car going. It's been stuck this whole game long. It started with that fast push in through square, and ever since that first round, Cloud9 have had full control of the pace. I wouldn't say Bank is an exceptionally attacker or defender-sided map, but I mean, now you've got to win 6 straight attacks when if Cloud9 want to, they can just run basement 6 times in a row. I mean, they will have full choice as to what site they want to run every single round. This is looking almost impossible for Standby LFO.
It doesn't look great, I'll be honest. It's been a weird start to the day.
Yeah.
I mean, for the first couple of games for us to gas together to be the Cruelty game where we get a 4 versus 5 for over half of the game. And then Cloud9 to come in and 6-round standby on the first phase. And let's be honest, I mean, are standby good to do what Cloud9 just did? I mean, it's just happened. So we'd be stupid to sit here and say, oh, it can't happen. Based off the siege we've seen, is it likely? I'm not going to say so. It's not just a lack of sort of cohesion that we've seen from standby. They haven't been winning many gunfights either. And if the team play that Cloud9 demonstrated on their attack translates to the defense, I mean, just look at the state of the lineup that they've got.
I mean,
It's borderline unlosable just based on the operators they've chosen.
There's so much time waste on the side of Cloud9, right? And so you combine that with a little bit of roam that's going on. They're not looking to fight anybody, shoot some drones, but Standby will really have to solve this puzzle. They've got good tools of their own, right? Plenty of smokes to come through to help Kixro get some picks on this glass. You got the Sens wall to stop anything going on too. If there was a Warden, not that there is. The Blitz can cause some chaos. You got Fens on his favorite operator. So Standby have a good lineup here, I think, to try to make a push happen. I will also say Cloud9 have been kind of rocky on the defense. I've really liked their attack so far at this stage, but they've allowed the most plants of any team on the defensive side, and they've got quite a bad win rate if they don't get that entry on defense. So there are some statistics that show Cloud9 being a bit weaker on the defensive side, but I mean, 6 rounds is going to be tough. It'll start with 1 per standby, and they'll start to open these hatches now. I imagine it's going to be focusing on Giddy next. He's playing these server stairs, unless they just want to go for the hatch drop with the Sens walls on Epic.
Well, the hatch is open, but Hat is there to support. I mean, Giddy does have some Vulcan packs as well, so it feels like a bit of a waste if he just drops off that position straight away.
Yeah.
Maybe swaps out position with Hat, but then Hat's not well equipped with the DMR to deal with that. Something that is going well for Cloud9. Standby, although they moved through the map very quickly, they have since slowed down. And it is causing them a bit of a problem now, especially when they're going to start coming up against this utility. Opening pick for Silent. Kixro attempting a bit of a hatch drop there. Will be punished instantly for it. Now, Garage isn't usually where you'd be sending your sends, but in this case, Epic is able to grab a kill onto Kobilax. Fortunately for C9, they do still have a BP which you can watch.
Yeah, and this time is still looking pretty decent for Standby, too. If they can start to get an entry point, that might look nice for them. But this flank from Giddy decided server stairs wasn't cool enough for him. He's now all above the bomb site. They're going to have no clue he's here unless they can catch him on a drone. But I don't think they've got a lot of drones left, which might mean that this flank is absolutely devastating.
I mean, it's a bold strategy to flank with the smoke, but why not? He's 11-1. Let him play. Let him cook. Finds one. Grabs the second. Oh! He's run an absolute mockery out of the standby attack right now. Dream takes out Fens. Epic with a consolation kill. That's all it's ever going to be. 3 versus 1, 10 seconds left. Doesn't have the diffuser. Taken down by Dream. A very well-deserved 7-0 for Cloud9 tonight.
What a game. From going down, losing your first 3 games of the stage to now winning 14 rounds in a row. Back-to-back 7-0 victories for Cloud9, dominating ever since play day 4. What a turnaround for this team, looking better than they ever have, and that guy right there, Giddy, has been leading the charge. Probably his best game as a pro player. He should be feeling very good after that.
We're going to go to a break. After that, we'll be back with our wonderful desk. Don't go anywhere.
Last one hatch, 1 HP.
Drop,
GG, guys.
drop.
Nice.
Good fucking shit, boys.
Good shit,
That's
boys.
the team we can
I
be,
like
boys.
that,
That's
baby.
our fucking
Yup,
team right there.
Back to back 7-0,
Good
G.
shit.
In and out. Yo, that shit feels so easy. Wait, that was actually so light. What the fuck?
Yo, let's chill. Let's chill.
Back-to-back 7-0 indeed from the side of C9. Something that they definitely should be celebrating. And we have Giddy as well to give us a little bit more of an insight in terms of what has changed in these last 2 games from what we've been seeing from C9, because you guys make it look easy.
Yeah, I mean, we just stopped caring as much on small things and just said, just go, just send it.
Yeah.
That's it. Just send it. That's the philosophy.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Very, very nonchalant right now after a clean 7-0. You got to aura farm a little bit. I guess my surprise is, or my question is, going to a map like Bank, obviously when you're playing a team like Standby, what are the aspects that you look at in the map choice when you play a specific team?
I mean, to be honest, Vivid and Mossy do all the map bans, but we've never played Bank on stream, and they just played it, and they didn't change a single thing. Like, all of our attacks, they did exactly what we went over the map a couple minutes, 20 minutes before the game. Everything we talked about, they did exactly that. So it was just so easy to, know exactly what was about to happen.
For sure. Well, I do want you to give me a little more depth outside of, you just saying we just aren't focusing on the little things. What are those little things that you guys were focusing on that you just completely put aside?
I mean, it's not really map specific, but more just 3-2-1s, trading, and just not giving freebies. I mean, obviously, that's our game. We were just giving freebies one after another. So it was really just value your life. Value it, but then on attack, if you see a gap, take it and make sure people get involved.
What has been the overarching theme for Cloud9 from this last stage to this next stage, obviously from all the games you guys have played up until this point?
I mean, to be honest, it's just getting on the same page because we got a new IGL. Well, we lost our IGL, so it's a complete new system. So it's really just make sure we're on the same page. If we're on the same page and know what we're doing, things will go our way. It's more of when people start doing their own thing and don't really know what's going on. That's usually when problems are happening.
I heard in the comms when Kobe Lax was saying, this is the team that we can be, whatever. I said in the beginning of this match that, sure, you guys 7-0'd Cruelty, but that still had to light some sort of fire underneath you guys to speak into what you're talking about of just being on the same page. Even to get a 7-0, whether it's a weak team or not, you still all have to fundamentally be there, follow the strat, execute, flawlessly, win your gunfight. So clearly it's obviously speaking into exactly what you're saying, that regardless of, the 7-0 that I'm talking about with Cruelty, it still plays into a factor of your guys' performance, say that everyone is on the same page and doing their job.
Yeah.
All right. Well, that's it for me.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much, Giri, for the interview. And again, congrats on another convincing win that you guys have under the belt. More points moving up on the standings, and we'll see you around.
Thank you. Y'all have a good one.
Bye. Nonchalant. AF.
Nonchalant.
I was that's exactly what we're doing. But either way, we still have to dissect this because if I remember correctly, the prediction that you had was Standby LFO.
Wrong!
I mean,
it was Standby LFO, but it was wrong as well. So,
I knew when I saw the map, I was going to be questioning it. I mean, and Giddy said exactly that. It was the exact same issues for Standby LFO that we saw in their first week. I mean, we saw them go back-to-back cafes, and that's exactly what M80 said. I mean, they just played it. They didn't really change anything. And then in the next week, we highlighted that Standby had FOD footage. They didn't do anything with it. They didn't try to change any of their own individual issues or rounds that didn't go according to plan. They didn't try to prepare for the other team that they were playing. In this game, there's nothing for them to watch Cloud9 do because, like Giddy said, they have not played Bank on stream. But for Standby, there's a lot they could have improved on, and they just did the exact same thing. And again, comes back to the issue of they just don't have any veteran leadership or anybody that's holding them accountable to swap strats up, to change things, to VOD review, to play together. They're just showing up. They're playing the spots that they got on the piece of paper that they know where they need to be, but they don't know why they're doing it. And that's Standby's biggest issue.
And I mean, it speaks into, even previously with the Envy SSG game, Envy did the exact same thing, and it speaks more into the inexperience of, yes, it worked in one game, so why do we need to change it? But it's exactly something like this. Once a team realizes what you're doing, they're going to exploit that. And a 7-0 is more than an exploit. They just absolutely dominated you in that regard, and that's why it's so important to just even change an operator, move someone around, bring an extra piece of utility, because when you have that blueprint layout of this is what they're doing, we know what they're doing, the comms are saying we're doing the exact same thing, you will interrupt a team's flow of comms by switching one piece of it, and that then can make you question what the rest of the strat looks like or what that execute is going to look like. So, I mean, good for Cloud9. I mean, we talk about, they're always prepped and ready in terms of getting it done, getting that entry kill, but, I mean, their work going into this map clearly paid off.
Yeah. I mean, 7-0, again, the fact that they are able to do this back-to-back highlights that it's not just a fluke, it's not just a one-time thing. They're able to replicate it, but from the side of LFO, I think as well, just having them change things up. But to me, that also brings in the question of the resources when it comes to time. Do they actually have that? Are they able to dedicate that? But either way, I mean, they're kind of going to have to
It's
do
on
it.
the player and coaches. That's just not one person. To just do the exact same thing over and over, anyone at any point in time can make a call and be like, I want to bring this. Maybe we should switch this. Let's do this after round of losing. So then that's also on the coach to be calling a timeout and being like, we need to switch something. And for the fact, I mean, nothing was being changed from round to round, or at least from Cloud9 standpoint, didn't look like anything changed. It begs the question, who's talking?
Yeah, it also begs the question, when is it going to start changing? But for that, we also have another game coming up, which is hopefully a little bit more exciting. It is DZ against OXG, and this is quite an incredible game due to the fact that DZ has kind of been more on down trajectory. OXG has been coming back, so we'll see which one is going to be able to equalize it out today, coming up after the break.